What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, the news has finally arrived, as we expected. Steve Cooper has been sacked as Nottingham Forest manager. It's a sad day. Sad day for, I say 95% Forest fans. 5% Forest fans will be celebrating he's gone. But I'm not going to slag him off at all because this, he's done so much for the club, but that's something that we are going to talk about throughout the show. If you are new to my channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below, people, what's your feelings about Steve Cooper gone and your happy memories as well. Right, sorry, I'm a bit coughing as well as usual. Right, let's get the panel in. Let's get the thoughts and feelings. First of all, let's start with Elle. How you doing, Elle?
I'm okay, thank you. I mean, like, I'm okay outside of football, but inside of football, I'm fuming.
He's fuming, people. She is fuming. I know that Dad's. I think Dad says exactly the same. He's gutted as well. I think there's going to be loads of Forest fans who are gutted. Next up, you know what? These two have not been on for a long time. I don't know why.
Probably just as well.
We'll save the best till last. Des, he's back. Des, how you feeling, Des?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? We've got plenty to discuss, and going to feel a little bit different going forward, isn't it?
100%. So we'll get Des thoughts in a minute. And last but not least, the man himself, he's back. Dave Asprey. How you feeling, Dave?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Just thinking that the only certainties in life are death, taxation, and football managers losing their jobs, really. So, yeah, I'm all right. I've had a tough 7 weeks, as you know. So all in its proper perspective.
Like I said, everyone's back. Lots of people get your thoughts in on how you feel about Steve Cooper. I'm going to get on panel as well on how they feel about Steve Cooper. Before we do, I'm going to go through the chats as well, because there's loads of messages coming through as well. Vladimir Putin, I love Steve Cooper. Merry Christmas, everyone from Lancaster. Oh, really? That's from America. So how are you doing? Raz Dads, thank you, Steve Cooper, a true legend. What on earth are Cooper out people are going to talk about now? Yeah, what they are going to talk about as well. I think this guy, he's the only one that's so happy. Peter, the Irish guy, so proud to be Forest fans today. Cooper Ball was thrown out the book bin. His father been sacked. How many hand clappers Cooper culture are we starting Sporting Palace? What you about the thing about you? Think about you, Peter Irish. What are you going to talk about now? You can't slag off Cooper. Next,
cold.
Is what is he got nothing else to talk about now. Paul says, hope you're well. Cooper always a legend on what he did for the club. See he's coming in, want to build 3 teams up for Forest. Best wish him for best of luck, whoever comes in, got his back, you Red. Chris says, we'll miss him coaching experience and humanity. Long may run, Steve Cooper. Mohammed, hi Dor, Cooper's been sacked. It's coming. Let's hope the manager can hit the ground running and get results quickly and get the back into top 10 on the rest. Steve Cooper, thank you. The man himself, David. How you doing, David? Woke up to 3 messages from Dor 15 minutes ago. And it could be one thing. Damn it. As you know, David in Australia, he just woke up and he just heard the news as well. Katie said we also look to have him. Wishing we'll look in the future. Shout out to Katie as well. We're going to get one more message before we do start. Sorry, there's loads of messages, so I want to try to get the panel in before we do talk about it. And shout out to E. Good evening, Mr. Dor, Des, Elle, and Dave. Hope you're well. I'm gutted about Steve Cooper being sacked today. I'm doing some drawing, including cheering myself, and make me happy. That's it, Eve. You do some drawing. Make sure you do a picture of Des, because I've seen in on social media he's had a little bit of a quiff on his hair. So I would have showed him up on here, but it's not the right time, is it? Next time I'll do the next stream. Right, so people can get your messages in. As well, and we'll talk about the man himself, Steve Cooper. Who should start with? People in the chat. Let's start. What?
That comment. Is that true? Mary Earps has just won BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
I'm not seeing people. Is it true, people?
That's cheered me up quite a lot. There we go. I hope it's true. If it's not true, you've ruined my day. But if it is true, that's that's a nice little consolation prize.
True. Right. Let's start with you, Ellie. What's your thoughts on the second of Steve Cooper?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I know that we've had a very bad run of form. Let's not lie to ourselves; it was poor. And I was really worried after the Fulham game, not just because I've said it, and I think everyone said it, not just because we lost 5-0. As much as I don't want to lose 5-0, I can take it from, Man City or Arsenal, but it was the manner in which we lost. But he seemed to be turning it around. It looked like we drew against Wolves away, and that was a good performance, I'd say. I was quite happy with the performance. And then after, who did we play? Spurs. I know we lost 2-0, but I felt very positive. I thought it was a good performance. There were obviously errors, definitely, but it looked like a turnaround. We seemed to be fighting, and it looked like the team Cooper wanted to start, as opposed to the team the owners wanted to start that they spent all the money on. And I just think it is the most outrageous of all times. I feel really blindsided as a Forest fan. If it had happened after Fulham, I would have still been upset, but I was kind of like, oh, it's kind of coming. But I thought he was going to at least get Bournemouth. I felt like I haven't been able to, say goodbye. I feel it's come out of, it's a random time to do it. It's the wrong decision entirely. He deserves more time. He had a plan. At the end of the day, business is business. And we know if there's one thing that Evangelos Marinakis isn't, it's patient. Fuming, absolutely fuming. And outrageous, disrespectful on all fronts. Cooper in or out, you have to admit what a terrible send-off for it to come out through gossip before it's come from our own club. Absolutely fuming.
Ooh, well, Ellie's not happy. Ellie's not happy. People in chat, do you agree with Ellie? Do you not? Please do. Let's get the man himself, Des. I can't believe I said the man himself, Des. Des, how you feeling, Des?
Well, I said how I'm feeling. I'm not best pleased about the decision, and of course, I'm a massive Steve Cooper fan. But look, what I will do is offer some sort of balance to it before I tell you the reasons why I didn't want it to happen. At the end of the day, the results haven't been good enough, have they? As everybody throws in our face who doesn't want Steve Cooper there, it's a results-based business, and ultimately the manager's head is going to roll at some point. It's not just the results; the performances have been shocking, and there's lots going wrong. But for me, the reason why I would stick with him is because I think he's getting more than people realise out of this team. It's rubbish. This squad compared to last season is absolutely rubbish. And before people start saying we signed such and such and such, we've got 2 mediocre goalkeepers. We've got defenders that can't stay fit. We've got fullbacks who've lost motivation. So we're going back to the tried and tested, as Ellie touched upon. People Steve Cooper can trust, who we're supposed to improve upon. We've signed a midfielder for 35 million who does nothing, and is almost full. I don't know. I don't think Cooper would pick him first choice, but he seems to get a pick, even though he's not playing in position. Mangala's doing okay, but he's not really. It's not really his role. He's had to switch around, and then you start striker, who obviously we rely on massively for the goals, is not available because he's injured, and it's just. I just think so much has not gone against him, because this is what happens in football. But I think last season there was a lot of talk about him losing his job, and when it really mattered, Forest dug in and got out of it, because we was on that crest of a wave, that enthusiasm. Players were playing for him, big names were coming in to save us. He were getting them on board. The team spirit was there, and I think some of the stuff has been served up this season. Some of the players, even more so than the 30 he had to deal with last season, like I say, are garbage. They're absolute garbage. And the lack of commitment. Fulham was embarrassing. There's been other performances where it's just been as bad. Everton, there were nothing there at all. and he's got nothing going forward. We've got a couple of wide players who are good wide players, but they're not goal scoring wide players. They're not attackers. Morgan Gibbs-White's playing out of position. I just think that where we are today is because Steve Cooper has overachieved. And again, we look at people will throw back in your face, well, we're here now, we're in the Premier League tactically. But again, when it comes to tactically, I think tactically he's kept us in games. Because when you look at West Ham, mistakes. Look at the game last week, two goalkeeping mistakes, and then Toffolo switched off for one as well. Cooper can't legislate for that on a football pitch, and I've been bemoaning for a season and a half now why how many individual errors Forest make. Concentration, that boils down to. Some of these players are gifted and talented, and it just boils down to concentration, and Cooper can't legislate for that. Switching off from corners at West Ham. We should have won that game. We really should have won that game, having got ourselves back in front. First goal, a guy who'd come in and done really well gives the ball away. What can Cooper do about that? But it's not just a mistake every 3 weeks. It's mistakes in every single game. Elementary mistakes in every game from experienced players, from inexperienced players. And I think based on that, it doesn't matter who comes in, does it? I don't care about, I'm sure we'll talk about the replacement. I don't care who it is right now. I'll get behind whoever it is, because that's what we do. We're Forest fans, and ultimately the club is bigger than me, you, Steve Cooper, and anybody else. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because if those players keep making those same mistakes, and we've not got a star striker, and centre-backs and right-backs are limping off when it feels like they can't be bothered, and you've got two bang-average goalkeepers, they're not going to get results, are they? And I think everybody's lost a bit of, I don't know what the word is, clarity in the situation, and just goes, results are bad. This is how it is. We've seen Forest over the years in some right dire, pathetic situations. Cooper's come in, he's hit the ground running. It doesn't happen that often. With other teams. Leeds went through 4 managers last season and got relegated. So and Leicester went through a couple as well. So it doesn't necessarily work out like that. And I think people need to start looking at what's happening on the pitch a bit more closely, scrutinise what individuals are doing, and then the manager would have been nowhere near this position, because we should have had at least eight more points on the board, and then we're in the table, and nobody's talking about Steve Cooper getting the sack.
Bloody hell. That was a long chat from Dead Oldham. People get them thumbs up for that. Can Dave beat that? I'm
sure he can.
Before we get Dave, there's quite people look. You just enjoyed that what Des just said. Des for manager. Okay,
what time am I going to bed tonight? Oh, I don't know.
Des for club chairman. Des Cooper out. Des in. Bloody hell. I think everyone's missed Des. Can the mighty Dave top that? Dave, your turn.
I think it's a sad day. I think there's been, for me, a sense of inevitability about it. I think that, 1 win in 13 isn't good enough, certainly not in the mind of an ambitious owner like ours. I am so indebted to this dignified, decent man of integrity, empathy and sympathy, who, more than any Nottingham Forest manager since Brian Clough, has built a rapport with those good people who sit in the stands, myself included. No manager has been closer to the supporters since Brian Clough, I don't think. Can't think of anybody. And this guy came in at a point where I was like, I'm headed towards my 7th decade now, thinking that I would never, ever see Nottingham Forest in the Premier League again. Especially on a night against Middlesbrough, where I saw some of the worst football this club has ever produced. Ever. With no personality, no spine, no wit, no credibility, none of that. And I thought at that point we were League One bound.
No, Dave, before we put in, Stoke was worse. Stoke City was worse.
No. Middlesbrough was the worst. The best thing Ethan Horvath did for this club was to misplace the pass from Loic Mbiso to allow Onel Hernandez to score, to put dear old Chris Hughton, a good guy but a poor manager, out of his misery, right? If you'd have said to me then, I'd have one of the most incredible days of my life at Wembley Stadium, less than 7 or 8, 9 months later. So that'd have been, don't be so stupid. You're on Fantasy Island, right? And then to go from there, that incredible high of Wembley, then to go to the Premier League, and that, like we were all singing 30 signings, who gives a whatever, and it became like, wacka wacka hey hey, and that was like our family song, right? So I never thought I'd say so. Before we get into the now, the then is that this guy wrought a miracle, right? So I'd seen. I mean, I'm lucky. I lived through Brian Clough. I remember the greatest of them all, right? And then when Brian Clough went, I knew Forest would go for a long, long time struggling for somebody to fill his shoes. Now, I don't think anybody has ever fully filled Brian Clough's shoes because they've never done what he did. Nobody probably ever will in this club. But I got to the point where I was watching McLeish come in, McLaren, Megson, a litany of mediocrities going in and out the door, and people who didn't support Nottingham Forest were pointing the finger at me as an embodiment of this club, going, what an embarrassment your club is. Longest serving manager Forest have ever had is 10 minutes. And I was like on the end of it. And then this Steve Cooper came in. He basically immediately pledged himself to Nottingham. He pledged himself to Forest, and he pledged himself to the people in the stands, right? And he built something. Now, the thing is, that was then. Now, the now is that one win in 13 simply isn't good enough. And our owner, I think, covets what Brighton and Hove Albion have got. Thursday night European football, cocking a snook at the big boys every now and then, and being competitive and playing better football than we do. So I think it was inevitable that this was going to happen. I was on a podcast yesterday with Max, and I said, it's going to happen. I kind of resigned myself to it, even though I'm massively in admiration of Steve Cooper, and I have great respect for him. And whether he's a good football manager or not, he's a supremely nice, decent human being, and he's certainly not been deserving of some of the cretinous, childish abuse he's had, which is like well out of order. But the thing is, he's gone now. I mean, my view is football clubs stand and fall together. But in football, it's always the manager that is the one that pays the price, and that's what's happened. For my take, and I'm with Des on this. I sat there on Friday night and looked at a squad of players that is patently out of its depth and not good enough for this division. Patently out of its depth. 10-man Tottenham Hotspur sailed and sauntered through the last few bits of that game. They had no pressure put on them whatsoever. I was looking for crumbs of comfort on the field, and I saw a goalkeeper who isn't up to standard, who's replaced another goalkeeper who's not up to standard. I saw two wide guys who are now showing to me why they were peripheral at the clubs that they were at before and who aren't good enough. I looked and thought, well, who's replacing Taiwo Awoniyi? And I saw a light of former years in Chris Wood doing it, past it. Divock Origi, not good enough. I see Oral Mangala playing some nice passes here and there, but when is he going to open up a defence? When is he going to sort of cut somebody else apart? Ryan Yates gives the lot physically, but I'm afraid effort and attitude will only take you so far in this league. You have to have quality. And I saw a distinct lack of quality. And then my thought turned to, well, who recruited these people? A recruitment expert who came from Rangers. And the Rangers people were saying, have him. He wasn't any good for us. Well, he was the recruitment expert at Rangers. Celtic were like winning title after title after title. So my view is if Steve Cooper's going to go, then some of these players have to go, and the recruitment team have to go as well. Because to say it's all on one person is simplistic. It avoids the nuance. It avoids the complexity of a situation. You know, this is a club, an organism made up of lots of different parts, different organs, different entities. To say it's just him is way too simplistic. It's banal, really. So I think I don't think he's entirely at fault. The squad isn't good enough. If you ask me, I said to somebody coming out of the City Ground on Friday night, I said, right, send this squad till Kenilworth Road tomorrow, or Bramall Lane tomorrow, or Turf Moor tomorrow, and see what happens. It would get beat at all of them. I actually think we have the weakest squad in our division at the moment. I really do. I don't. Where's the goal going to come from? Where is a guy getting your backside off a seat at the moment? I mean, it was Morgan last year, but Morgan, like, I look at Morgan and I see a lad who understands his responsibility to the club, responsibility to the price tag, but he can't do it all. Do you know what I mean? And some of the, I mean, Sangari to me is the embodiment of the recruitment. 35 million. I mean, when is he going to show up? When is he going to do something?
Yeah, Dave.
Hang on. You expect something for your money, and I think at the moment this lot. We're going to get a new manager. It looks like it's going to be Nuno, whatever. Do I have massive confidence right now that he's going to get any more out of these than Steve Cooper? I can't say I have. And I think if we're at the end of the season and we've survived, I will take that as a miracle, and I'll say thank you. If it's Nuno or if it's somebody else, thank you so much. But I think he's got a real job on his hands, because I don't see another gear that this team can go to at the moment. So I look at Bournemouth coming on. I tried to construct a Forest Bournemouth combined 11, and I picked Bournemouth because in every position they're better than we are. I really do think that. So whoever's coming in, he'll have my support, because I am Forest till I die, and I go to every match, right? And I'll get behind him because I want Forest to win every game. I just go to every match wanting Nottingham Forest to win, whoever the manager is, because the club is bigger than me, bigger than all of us, bigger than a manager. So I'll get behind him. But I do think they're saying I don't, whether he's going to get a honeymoon period, I do not know, because people will expect wins straight away. If we lose the next three, what are they going to, then what? So, I mean, and they're difficult fixtures. This lot coming on Saturday, love coming here. They love playing us. They use their lack of size to beat us. That's right. We're little Bournemouth. We can just go there, no pressure. They're ex-European champions. We have to find a way of dealing with that. Newcastle away on Boxing Day. Whoa. I've been watching what they're doing to Chelsea with like 600 injuries, and they're beating Chelsea. So, and then Manchester United, who could be anything, they're supposed to be in chaos, but they got a point at Anfield, which nobody else has done. So if he's going to be sort of hitting the ground running, he's got a right tough job. Do you know what I mean? So I don't trust any of this squad at the moment. When your most consistent player is Harry Toffolo, it tells you.
Bloody hell. So,
and I love Harry Toffolo, by the way. Like I love Nico. Like I love some of these other lads who are trying hard, but they need some backup and they need some more quality from somewhere.
So people want Des as a manager. Matt Kay says, Dave, seriously, you get on board with the club for FFS. As everyone knows what it is.
What does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? Does he say I'm against the club or what?
No, seriously, get on board with the club. Get on board with the club. We don't want to do that. I think you'll just yap Mr. Malak's ears off.
That as well.
As well. People, if you can't, there's 108 people in it. Please do hit the like button, please, because we've got the main guys on my channel back as well, and subscribe to my channel. I can't believe people. Matthew, Ellie. Like Des and Dave, I spoke about the players and now they let them down. Do you agree with them? Do you think all the players have let Steve Cooper down? Because if you look at it, how many players since we've been in the Premier League, how many players have we brought in? Is it 40 or 50 players in?
It's between 40 and 50.
More than 50 players. And like, how can one manager deal with all that? So, have the players let them down? Yes or no?
Some of them absolutely. Some of them have understood. I think what is noticeable about the players is the difference in attitudes, especially this season. Last season, the majority, maybe not the majority, but a lot of the players that were signed, at least the players that we cared about who were signed last season, had the right attitude, had the right spirit, turned up on the pitch. And even if they weren't, necessarily the best player in the world, they gave their all. They understood what it meant to play for Nottingham Forest. And what an honour that is. We're not just some Premier League plastic side with no real fans who only care about money. We're Nottingham Forest. We're probably some of the most, maybe not the most loyal, but some of the most loyal fans in the whole league. To have the fan base that we have, and to get to play for 2-time European champion Nottingham Forest is an honour, and it should be seen that way. And I think some players who've been signed this season are not on board with that, and it's really, really noticeable that their logic is they see us as a stepping stone into the Premier League. They see us as a way to establish themselves as a Premier League and then to move on, and that's not right. You're getting paid however much you're getting paid per week. You're going to play because we're paying to watch you, and I want to see you try. If you try and you're crap, I'll respect you. I'm like, fair enough. You've given it your best go. Like, I love Harry Toffolo, and I've said it before. He's very consistent, very, very consistent, but he's a consistent like 6 or 7, which I'm happy with. I mean, obviously we want to do better than that, but right now, at least he's consistent. We know what we get from Harry Toffolo each week because he puts his heart and soul on that pitch, and I have so much respect for him. And he, well, at the minute, he's our best left back / only fit left back, isn't he? And but for me, I think some of the players really have let Cooper down. The biggest one probably is, for me, Sangare. I've been quite upset with. I'm sure he's a lovely, lovely bloke, but his effort wasn't quite there on the pitch. His mindset wasn't quite right a few times. There's other players as well, but I think he's the obvious one, bless him, because he was 35 million. That's not his fault. But I've said it before. I've been saying it all season. I don't think Cooper's been allowed to be Cooper this season. Last season, I could almost always guess the starting lineup. Assuming, the only exception being there was a couple, like an injury that happened in the week that I didn't expect, or illness or something like that. Whereas this season, I've been baffled nearly every time. We'd watch for example, I know lots of people go, oh, but you can have a go if you want. But Joe Worrell, for example, had the game of his life at Chelsea. We won 1-0. It was a brilliant day. And yeah, we had some players that, player for player, we are nowhere near as good a team. But at the end of the day, we took home the 3 points and they didn't. And then he got dropped. And I was baffled. And Ryan Yates as well. What a class act Ryan Yates is. And Peter, the Irish guy, is going to have a little fit, bless him. But I'm sorry, but we play better with Ryan Yates in the side. And Joe, unfortunately, now it's probably too late for Joe Worrell because he's been out for so long. But how does it make any sense when he wins man of the match, when on the match of the day, everyone's talking about Joe Worrell, how class he was, when there's an article in The Athletic talking about how class he was, and then he gets dropped? And I think that's down to Mr. Marinakis breathing down his neck. Sorry, I'm going to get banned from the ground in a minute. I'll never be allowed back. No, I'm just going to say it. If I get banned now, it's Marinakis. But Mr. Marinakis is breathed down his neck. This is what I think has happened. Conspiracy theory. Breathed down his neck and made him play the most expensive players. Gone, I want this player. I've paid 35 mil for Sangare. I play him instead of Ryan Yates. I've paid this, that, and the other them. Play them instead of that. And it makes no sense because he's putting the money on the pitch, but not necessarily the quality. And for me, I disagree with you, Dave, in the fact that I think we do have a squad that is easily good enough to stay up. There's much more potential, but we've suffered injuries and the loss of Tyro Awoniyi is huge. And you're right about goal scoring being genuine. We can't finish a dinner at the moment. But I really think some players need to take a look at themselves in the mirror and need to be ashamed. Ashamed. You're a professional footballer. Don't see us as a stepping stone. For us, there's 30, 40, 50, more than that fans now who every week pay money for Forest. We're not rich like these footballers. They need to understand what an honour it is to have fans like us. And it does my head in. I am not forgiving when it comes to that. You put your all on that pitch, you be brave and you play for Forest. And that's why I will always love and respect players like Joe Worrell, Ryan Yates, Nico Williams, Harry Toffolo. They're the players I want to see on the pitch right now. I'd rather see the players with the right attitude, giving it their best go because they have a much better chance than the ones that have all the techie football and the good quality, who quite frankly couldn't care less who they're playing for and couldn't care less about the fans. And Steve Cooper was let down greatly at Fulham. Greatly. They were a disgrace to say the least. And I never slaughter my own team. But I'm so proud to be a Forest fan. There are so many players that I have so much faith in. I think Chris Wood actually has good goal scoring capability. We just need to play the right type of football to suit him, which unfortunately isn't the football we're best at. We're used to Taiwo Awoniyi. But one good thing with Taiwo Awoniyi being injured, and one good thing, I guess, for future, looking for the positives, is that maybe we'll learn to play without him, because we did rely on Taiwo. He kept us up last season. That's not why. He's a class player. But I now want to see the right players play, the players with the heart, and the players that don't necessarily cost the most. And I'm upset about Joe Worrell leaving. I don't care what people say, because as much as you want to say Joe Worrell cost us goals, how many goals has Murillo cost us? I love Murillo, and he's a young player.
Fair point.
Murillo, and that does by no means am I slaughtering Murillo. I love him. He's got so much potential and he's got so much class. But we slaughter Joe Worrell whenever he makes a mistake. But when Murillo makes a mistake, it's different. It's completely different. And that's not right. It's not fair to be jumping on the backs of our own players. And I just think we need to take a step back. We're Nottingham Forest. We're not Man City. We're not plastic fans. We're not here for the money like our owners might be. We're here to play football. We're here to stay up. We have no right to be finishing mid-table. That's a ridiculous thought that people have that expectation. We fight to win, and we always will. We need to get behind them. And I think there's potential in our team. I just think our managers, whether it's obviously not Cooper anymore, but Nuno needs to be allowed to play what he wants to play. And the owners need to take a step back and have faith in our managers and maybe less faith in recruitment.
I've never seen Des and Dave so quiet in my life. This is amazing. People need to clip this. I've never seen these two quiet. Well done, El. I think everyone in the chat is loving Dave. You're silent, Dave. You're mute.
ladies on a roll. Well said.
I've never seen them two. I've never seen them two so quiet.
It's good. It's good. It's good for me to shut up and listen to somebody else. Because I talk nonsense, honestly, a lot of the time. Well said, Ellie.
Des, can you top what Ellie just said? Like, do you think the players, the expected players did think they played for Cooper? Like players like Sangari and the rest of them.
Well, I think I made that point in my opening summary, didn't I? You know, I totally agree with what Ellie says about certain players. Sangare, for me, people keep saying he's going to come good. How? He doesn't win headers. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't block. He doesn't pass. He doesn't get in the box. He doesn't shoot. You know, so again, whoever signed him, and we never know exactly who signed these players, and everybody says this is his man and this is his man, and certain players I've read today would and they'll be Cooper's man apparently, but we don't really know, do we? I think the thing is, you look around the team, and again it boils down to, for me, it's about 50-50 between the fact that certain players have given up and other players. Well, it's not 50-50 because there's three reasons. Some aren't good enough, as Dave touched upon. Some have given up. And some are just making a horrendous mistake. Ellie mentioned Murillo. Brilliant. Absolutely. He's going to be a superstar. He's going to be absolutely on top of his game in 3 or 4 years. He's cost us 3 goals by running out of position, you know, dribbling out from the back. He cost us at Wolves. You know, he let his man run off him and then somebody squared the ball. But those who shout down Cooper and didn't want him in a job, they don't see these things. They don't see what actually happens on the football pitch. And that's what's really frustrating for me, though. I played football for a long time. You know, when people couldn't be arsed on a Sunday morning, their hand went up and they started pulling on their hamstring. You know, you see it. Serge Aurier feels like he can't be bothered anymore. As soon as he's Willy Bolly, hand goes up, hamstring's gone off, and then they play next week. If you get a hamstring, you don't play for 3 or 4 weeks at least. So these players are just sort of taking Cooper and the club for a ride, and I think it's absolutely shocking what they're doing, you know, and some of those performances where they're not even running. The Fulham game, they weren't even running, you know, and players who had not long been at the club. What happened to all that spirit and enthusiasm from last year, being back in the Premier League? This is what I warn people about for a long time. Do you know, the light will burn out a little bit and it'll all get a bit mundane and flat. And I really worry without Cooper there that we start heading back to a place where we didn't like, which we didn't like very much, because managers get the sack. You know, if Nuno comes in and lasts 6 months, 6 games, however long, gets the sack and we get another one in, we're still going to be at the bottom of the league, aren't we? You get relegated, you've signed all these players on millions of pounds worth of contracts, you know, and is that Cooper's fault? Does he give the players wages? You know, so you just got to take a bit of. I'm trying to hold back from going at the owners as such, because they do lots of fantastic and wonderful things to the club, and it's his prerogative at the end of the day. You know, he's put all that money in, and he cuts, he chops loans down and all sorts of things to keep us going. But at the end of the day, you've got to sort of. And I know football is moving away from it, but like Ellie says, you've got to trust your manager. And if people aren't performing for the manager, he's got to be able then to stamp down his authority. And I think what has ultimately happened, and what a lot of people are talking about now, and it's the crux of this question, is that he's lost the dressing room. He has lost the dressing room, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily his fault. You know, he's lost the dressing room because players aren't running hard.
Lost
all the dressing room.
Do you think that's the recruitment's fault of not trusting play for?
I don't think it's the recruitment's fault as such, because again, you could sign players and you're going to get dud ones. You know, everybody gets dud ones. Everybody signs a player for 35 million who's crap. You know, that's what happens in the Premier League. Everyone's overhyped and expensive. But I think what it is, it's not so much players. For me, it's not players thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to work for Steve Cooper." They're not going to work hard enough for Nottingham Forest. And ultimately, that's what cost the manager his job. When I watched that Fulham game and people had stopped tracking back at 2-0, you know, it's ridiculous. If you're not going to run hard enough for yourself and for your club and for your career, then what's the point? What's the point in anything? And I was looking at someone like Aina, and I don't want to pick on him in particular, but he'd give up. He'd give up. You know, players running off him left, right, and centre. And I thought, well, this guy's only just walked through the door. He's got a chance to establish himself in a Premier League football team. Yeah, things aren't going well at the moment. It proves again in the Wolves game, doesn't it? We shoot and fight, because he put the players who technically aren't good enough back in. Yates, Nico Williams. Nico Williams has put in 2 strong performances. First half against Spurs, Ryan Yates was like a man possessed. You know, he gave absolutely everything. For whatever anybody says about Joe, whoa, Ellie's right. Chelsea, I was gobsmacked that he got dropped after that game. You know, because he was absolutely fantastic. Before the game, I could have understood it. And it feels like some of the decisions around the team are a little bit baffling and not Cooper-type decisions. You know, he's shown how we've kept in games a lot this season. The last few weeks we've been done over, but he's kept them in there by making changes, by tactically shuffling things about. And that is the only reason we've kept in it, because I believe the players have let him down massively.
Dave, do you agree with Ellen Des, or you got something different?
Yeah, well, I agree that, you know, that shirt, that Garibaldi red shirt, is a sacred item. And when you stick it on, you are part of a great legacy. You know, ours is one of the most historic football clubs, not only in this country, but around the world, made so by an unbelievable set of halcyon days, golden age, you know, where we overachieved more than any football club probably in history, right? And that set a bar. And when you and like Des makes the point about, you know, there are honourable words and what have you, and they all do. You know, a lot of these guys come into the club and they do an initial interview. And I'm kind of looking back at all these initial interviews and thinking, how many of you have delivered on your words? You broke your pledges. You made a promise and a pledge to Nottingham Forest as a historic institution, and to us as people who, you know, we spend a lot of money on the club, going there and there, hither and thither, there and back. Even more so, the time that we invest in this club. And a lot of these people are sort of basically, I felt at Fulham, I felt betrayed, right? Which is an awful place to be in life. I felt I'd been shortchanged. A carload of us, great mates, great friends, little bunch of lads who go to matches. We kind of build up to it. We travelled all the way down there. You know, Malcolm took us down. He drove. He went out of his way to kind of make everything amazing for us. You know, couldn't thank him enough. There and back to London on a school night, work night, amazing effort. And we get to Craven Cottage, and it's just like, well, yeah, it was a decent enough start, but then it's like, well, are you not aware of the 3,000 in the Putney end who've come all that way and who are singing their hearts out, you know? And I think there's a sort of an attitudinal issue. I do think the novelty is gone. Last year there was a cause, there was a mantra, there was a sort of a thread running through it, right? Luton Town have that thread now. We had it last year. Luton Town now have it, and teams need a cause, right? Now Luton Town, I look at Luton Town and I kind of think, I think they're going to stay up because everybody thought they would lose every single game. They're now going to play their hearts out for their stricken captain. Luton Town are going to be even more dangerous now. Yeah. Everton, as soon as Everton had 10 taken off them, I thought Everton are safe. I came out of Fulham and I think I said to somebody, I said, I was thinking of writing to the FA and saying, dear FA, could you take 10 points off Nottingham Forest just for a laugh and wind them up? Because then they might start playing. I just think, what I do think is certainly around the club, there's been a lot of getting ahead of yourself. We'll be all right. We'll be 12th, 13th, 14th this year. I got laughed at on a show a few weeks ago where I said, give me 17th. And they all went, oh, you'll be fine, Dave. Forest aren't going down. Don't be so stupid and all this. And hindsight's a marvellous thing, is it not? Give me 17th now. Yeah. Because I think the three below us are, I actually think Burnley play, Burnley are kind of trying to stick to the principles that got them up, like we did. I think Vincent Kompany might have to sort of say, yeah, we play a little bit duller and more dour to stay upright. But I think Sheffield United will get a boost from Wilder. Burnley play some quite good stuff. Luton are going to chuck the lot at everybody for the sake of Tom Lockyer, right? Everton have just done that. You give Everton their 10 points back, and they're probably not far off a Europa League place. Do you know what I mean? So I think at the moment we need something. We need some kind of cause. We need some kind of, you know, flag to stick in the ground to say, hey, we're Nottingham Forest and this is what matters. But you can say, I can say that maybe the players have let the manager down, but are they that good? I don't think they are. I think a lot of them actually, and this is such a sad thing, and it really depressed me walking out the ground the other night. I think a lot of them have reached the ceiling that they're capable of. I do not see with any of them another gear. Sangari can go to further gears because he has to start backing up the feet. And I come back to him. I mean, that lad, I'd love to play against him. He wants half an hour to do everything, Sangari. I'm 59 and I'd have him in my pocket, right? And I'd like, come on then, big man. Go on, get stuck in. You're wearing that Garibaldi red shirt. What are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And some of the others, I mean, the thing is, we want stability in the club. And we've used so many, only Brighton have used more players in various games this year, right? But it ain't going to come because in January, we need a striker. We need a goalkeeper. We need somebody who can control the tempo of a match. And I looked at our squad the other night, and I'm looking at our squad going into this Bournemouth game, and I'm thinking to myself, when Bournemouth are planning for this match on Saturday, who in the Nottingham Forest lineup are they really, truly afraid of? And I don't see anybody. They might say, oh, Morgan Gibbs-White will do bits and bobs. You know, I mean, I'll give Morgan his due. Morgan's the guy who's prepared to try something. But as soon as he tries something, it doesn't come off, he gets obliterated from the stands. So, you know, you either want a guy to try something or you don't. But I don't see at the moment, I don't see anybody who's getting my bum off that seat to make me think, yeah, there's a guy I can hang my hat on who'll do damage to an opposition. It isn't Chris Woodhard, though he tries. It isn't Divock Origi. It isn't Anthony Elanga. It isn't Callum Hudson-Odoi. It isn't Sangari. Yates is going to try hard and give you the lot, but that's Ryan. But is he really going to break a game open and dominate another midfield? Sorry, I don't think he is. And I just think we're looking around the patch, and I looked at Brighton when they came, the football they played, the football Tottenham played the other night. It is a level or three above what we're capable of at the moment. If you think about it, Luton came and they were always in the game, even though we were 2-0 up, and Steve Cooper made some mistakes with substitution. So he's not completely home free. But I have never felt, I don't think since we came up, we haven't dominated a game possession-wise completely. Maybe at Manchester City when they were down to 10, but even then we never looked like scoring. We've only once dominated another midfield in all the time since we come up, and that was Liverpool at home last year, and that was through brute force and ignorance. I think it was Freuler, Kouyaté, and Yates. It wasn't through any finesse. It wasn't through any scientific football. It was let's get stuck in. And I think Forest need to learn how to.
Does it need to be finesse? I think that's been our problem, is that we keep looking for finesse and going, oh, he's techie and he can do that, and that's sometimes what you need is a bit of a grit, a bit of a up shoulder, a little bit of and it'll do the job. I don't care if it's dirty. I don't care if it's messy.
That's what Dave.
Get in there, boys. It's all right.
Yeah, Ryan Yates does that for you, and Ryan Yates. I love Ryan Yates to the moon and back, and I'd love to spend time talking with the kid, telling him how much he puts in. But we need more than that. These clubs are so advanced from us. I mean, how many times do we mesmerize a team with our passing? Most of our most secure passes are the ones back to a centre half or the back to a goalkeeper. I never see a guy hit a pass that opens up anything up. And now Brennan's not there. We haven't got that outlet of pace. Do you know what I mean? And I just think we're a mulch. It's a beige team to me. I'm really sorry. And that's going to upset people if they've got their favourites. And going back to the Worrell and McKenna thing, yeah, and I agree that the Worrell dropping after Chelsea was bizarre because he played brilliantly. But then he's had chances since then and he hasn't taken them. He hasn't made himself indispensable to the team. Scott McKenna hasn't done it. Nobody really, and this is where it comes back to recruitment, right? It must be really, really difficult picking a team where you haven't got enough people putting a consecutive run of decent performances together. Murillo will have a good one here and then some dodgy ones. Danilo, the same. Anthony Lang will have a good one. Then nobody is putting a consistent run. The only player I see putting a decent run of games together where you kind of think, yeah, he deserves his place, is Harry. Now, and Harry, I think Harry's been helped by all the betting stuff that went on. He came clean, he sorted his life out, and Harry's like, right, I can enjoy my football again now. Yeah, and there's not enough of that.
100%, Dave. If you can't do massive favour, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you know. Before we do talk about possibly we have been hearing Nuno could come to Forest. Andrew Sharp, thank you for the £2. Let's get behind the new man and our team. That's what we'll talk about. Before we do talk about the man, shout out to Neil Cooper. That's Steve Cooper's brother. He'll be watching this show. If Steve Cooper is watching, could be watching. What's your message towards him, panel? Let's start with you, Ellie. What would you say to Steve Cooper? And people in the chat as well. People in the chat, what would you say to Steve Cooper?
Hashtag letter to Cooper, just because you loved it so much before. I put out a little message. I said, and I will send my letter, so you can all laugh, but you got me nearly 1 million views, so I won that one. Anyways, I would say thank you, not just for getting us promoted, not just for beating Liverpool at home that we never thought we could even dream of before, not just for, that brilliant day out at the semi-final playoffs and the playoff final and all the amazing days out since and the Bristol City away, not just for those brilliant days that you've given us, but for finally understanding how important football is to fans, for understanding what it means to be a Nottingham Forest manager, for understanding what it means to the fans, for what it means to the city, for taking part in being so involved in Nottingham City, for really engaging with fans, with the people, and for taking in everything that it means to be part of Nottingham. What Steve Cooper did, he didn't just get us promoted, he changed lives. People laugh. People who aren't Forest fans or aren't football fans, they don't get it, and they'll never get it, and you don't have to get it. But when I say that that man changed my life, he did.
It changed my life as well. It changed my life as well.
I was probably at the lowest point in my life I've ever been before Steve Cooper, a terrible place. And he comes in and he brings hope. And the atmosphere for me of going to football, the way it changed, the way of something to be positive about, the way that he understood us and cared so much, it really changed things. And I think he needs to, I hope he understands, I hope he knows. That's what I want him to know. I hope he knows that he's changed lives. He's changed my life, and I'm so grateful. I wouldn't have even been able to be on things like DoreOnTour, which I used to watch and be a little fangirl of, or, you know, podcasts or radio and TV that I've done if it wasn't for Steve Cooper. That man is an angel. He's on the wall. Oh, there he is. And I hope he knows that there's so many people like me where it wasn't just about promotion. It was a lifeline for a lot of us. And he really did change my life. So thank you, Steve Cooper. As much as I hope you do well wherever you go, I wish you only the best. And it's going to be sad to see you doing well without us, but good luck.
100%. You've got another fan, Ellie, Brennan Johnson's mum, Alison. She's watching, and she's like, "Go, Ellie!" So shout out to Alison, but well, Brennan Johnson's mum as well. Des, what's your message to Steve Cooper?
Read my social media.
People go and follow Des on Instagram. Go and follow him.
Seriously, I wrote today, I love Steve Cooper being the manager of my football club. I love feeling connected to the game until late, and I've loved all the amazing memories. You just don't get away days like that promotion season. Do you know, some of these Johnny come latelys who've come recently, who don't even go to football, you know, will never, ever get what it's like to go to a football match and feel like you've got a chance of winning, you know, and coming away and being positive. I went on to say, more than all of that, and despite the fact I was never lucky enough to meet him, unlike most people, but lots of people have.
Even Cage met him. That's not
right. What I really want to thank him for, and you guys will know because of my social media, my big thing in life is positivity and inspiration and being humble and showing humility. And this guy's got it all, hasn't he? You know, I never met him, but I was inspired by him every day. You know, not just because he was the manager of Forest, because he's just, like Ellie says, he got everything. He got it. You know, another big part of my life is doing things in and around Nottingham and supporting causes and charity. And he was involved in absolutely anything. When things went wrong in the city, you know, Forest through Steve Cooper were always at the forefront of it. And I think being an inspiration like that to so many people and bringing happiness to people, it doesn't cost anything to make people happy. And so many people forget that, especially people in positions where they've got that authority and chance to do it. And this guy went out of his way to make people feel good, to make people happy, and to really put a smile on lots of people's faces. And like I say, somebody is just a fan who has watched Forest as a lost cause for 35 years, you know, had a season ticket for 35 years and just watched lost cause after lost cause after lost cause, watching rubbish away at Chester in the FA Cup, getting beat.
I don't mention that.
You know, all these things, you know, investing time, money and effort, you know, and I just think people will say that doesn't matter. You know, it's a results-based business. I tell you what, and the words I actually used, it absolutely fucking matters. You know, because when you've done it for so long, when you've watched it and you go to it and it becomes a labour of love and a force of habit, and then all of a sudden, every week is an event. Every single week for the last 2.5 years has been meeting up with mates, meeting up with you guys, meeting everybody through these podcasts and things. It wouldn't have gone the way it had if Forest was still spiralling in the opposite direction. And this guy come in with a wave of enthusiasm. You know, he did it his way, stubborn enough to do it his own way, which I totally admire him for, but also humble enough to do it in a way that includes everybody, and he accepts what's going on around him. And you'll see it now. You know, I don't know Nunes personally, but I think when Rafa Benitez has gone into clubs, he's got no patience or time for what's happening around him, you know, and things like that. And you might see it again with this manager or any other manager. And I think that's what makes him stand out. And just one point on Steve Cooper, when people are going, he's not Premiership class. Well, we all think he's going to Crystal Palace. So somebody admires what he does. Somebody sees him as an up-and-coming manager. You know, just because his name's Steve Cooper and he's Welsh and he's not Portuguese and his name doesn't end with Z or whatever, you know, this guy has got serious talent and serious pedigree in the game. It feels like Crystal Palace have been waiting, you know, to pick him up, and now they've got the chance. So good luck to Steve. Good luck to Palace or wherever he goes to, and hopefully he kind of embraces them as well. But we'll definitely be missing something on a match day, you know, because all those fist pumps, him actually taking time to listen to Muller Kintyre every single week. Yeah. You know, I sit and watch it, or stand and watch him and think, you know, he purposely does that. It's not an act, it's not a show, it's his purpose, and he's taking it in. And I hear so much, you know, about what he's done for people. I just think he's incredible, you know, he's humble and such an inspiring guy.
100%. I do agree with what Des says. Last but not least, Dave, any message for the mighty man, Steve Cooper?
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for your decency, your humility, your sympathy, your empathy, your understanding, your brilliant social skill in building a rapport between those of us in the stands and yourself. That took some doing. Nobody's done that probably since Brian Clough. Nobody's had that love. You know, I saw times when I kind of thought this is going to get toxic, and people acted in a way that I didn't think they would be. Fulham in particular will always stay with me. At half time, I thought this is going to get really nasty, and that guy over there is going to be a target. Forest fans didn't do that. They got mocked for it by certain quarters, but, you know, people say there's no room for sentiment in life. God, can you imagine a life without sentiment? That would be just awful. It'd be reptilian. I just had 7 weeks where I've needed that, lads. And Ellie, I've had 7 weeks where I've needed every piece of sentiment I could get because I've been grieving. I'm bereaved. So don't come at me with this sentiment doesn't matter business, because it does. Its sentiment makes the life the emotional, brilliant thing that it is, right? And Steve Cooper's given us lots of that. I wish him every success wherever he goes. You know, there might be an irony at the end of the season if he goes somewhere else and they're in a better position than us. Time will tell. I don't know. We're all of us in a place at the moment of don't know. We don't know who the next manager is going to be. We have an idea. We don't know how he's going to go. We don't know what he's going to do. Well, I do have a fairly strong sense for us that Steve Cooper is going to do well. I hope he does. He goes with my absolute best wishes. And, you know, in the words of Bob Hope, thanks for the memories. And the memories are, for me, I wrote them down as Des was talking. Barnsley away. 1-0 down after an hour. He made an attacking change. We won 3-1. Birmingham away. Jed Spence's goal, right? Bristol City away.
Dave, stop, Dave, stop. Stop, Dave.
Let me talk. Daddy's talking now. Bristol City away. One of the most incredible and wet nights of my life. I would love to live that night over and over again. Derby at home when Brennan scored after Zinks pulled the ball back to him, right? Amazing. West Brom at home. Jack's howitzer. Jack's goal. Did he mean it? Of course he did. He saw the guy off the line. Jack meant it. Swansea away. Swansea home. Blades away in the playoff. Blades at home. That penalty shootout. The greatest penalty save you'll ever seen. the Hurahan save where Brees just stuck his hand out and let it hit his hand and hit the bar and out. Astonishing, right? West Ham at home, it hit Taiwo shin. Who gives a damn? Liverpool at home, Mo Salah not spotted, gone missing in Nottingham. The bus was driving around Nottingham looking for Mo Salah because he couldn't find him. He shat himself and ran away, right? Brighton at home, Danilo's goal when Taiwo played him in. Southampton at home, 4-3. People say Forest couldn't score goals. He scored goals that night. Arsenal at home. Hey, Arsenal, we're staying up. And that lot over there in Manchester are champions and you can't do anything about it because we've only had 18% of the ball and you're too thick to work us out. So that's Arsenal. Chelsea away. A guy who'd lost his uncle in a horrific accident earlier in the week, playing his heart out for the club. And to finish, and people say, oh, you know, the football that Steve Cooper played was poor. And maybe it was. But I think Nottingham Forest scored the greatest goal on this planet in the last year, right? It was 19 passes, all 11 had a touch against the European champions, the league champions, the FA Cup holders, the team that's probably going to be world champions next week. Little Nottingham Forest cut them to ribbons and made them look like they had never played football in their life. You know, Kyle Walker couldn't get to Woody. Bernardo Silva was made to look like a rabbit in headlights by, you know, Brennan and Morgan. Phil Foden, I don't know how to play football anymore. Rodri falling over in the box because he didn't know what to do. Nottingham Forest did that to them. So there are great memories, right? And unfortunately, the truth of it is, we're Forest. Whoever the manager is, we're Forest. And I go on to Bournemouth and I want us to win against Bournemouth, right? And it doesn't matter who the manager is. And unfortunately, that's the truth of it. But the memories Steve Cooper's given me are memories that when we were losing 2-0 to Middlesbrough that night, or losing 1-0 away at Stoke, or we were like getting beat by Cardiff at home on a Sunday afternoon where Flint is taking the mick out the Trent end, and somebody said to me, this list of memories that I've just written, they'll come along. I said, don't be so stupid. So Steve Cooper took us to places that, you know, we never imagined we'd get to. So I can't thank him enough. And I tell you what he's been. I can't remember a manager we've had where supporters of other clubs have all said, what a good guy you've got, what a good manager. I think a lot of supporters of other clubs that I know will be saying, maybe you should have stuck with him. And time will tell. We might be hearing, you know, we might come back on December the 31st and we've beaten Bournemouth, won at Newcastle and beaten Manchester United. And you kind of think, oh, well, actually, hang on a minute. So we don't know. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. And we'll only know the validity of this decision down the line. If we are safe, if we're 17th on, you know, June the 1st, then I'll think, yeah, great. Well, maybe it was the right decision. We just do not know yet. But Steve Cooper, a top bloke who treated people brilliantly. I've seen him close up with other people and the positive influence and impact he's had on their lives, you know, has been absolutely brilliant. A thoroughly good human being. And I wish him every success. And I thank him for what he's done for us.
I'll say my bit. I'll make it short and sweet. I just want to say thank you very much, Steve Cooper, for what you've done for Nottingham Forest, what you've done for the club, the city, and the fan base as well.
Yeah.
I know the older generation will say Sir Brian Clough is there, and he is there. But in our generation, we'll sit like me, Dave, and Des will say about Frank Clark was there as well. But
yeah, Frank, great bloke, Frank
as well.
Good manager.
But
good manager.
Steve Cooper's there for me. He's always going to be in that top list with me in my lifetime.
And the thing is, Ben, actually, mate, let me just come in on that. Let's take Ellie as an example, right? Now, up until, you know, in what's Ellie? She's in her early 20s or what?
How old are you, Ellie?
I'm 20.
So she's 20, right? Yeah. Now, what has Ellie, before Steve Cooper, what has Ellie had to kind of sing from the rooftops about for Nottingham Forest? Nothing. She went to Wembley. Steve Cooper gave her Wembley. All the kids. I'm lucky I've got Clough. I go back to Clough. I'm an old fart. And I remember I was part of that thing with Brian, right? I even had trials for the club. But for the kids who go to Forest, the young lassies, the young lads, you know, who go to Forest, they've had nothing. They've been watching their mates who support United, Tottenham, Arsenal, whoever. Oh, we've won this, we've won that. And the Forest kids would have to sit there and not have anything to say. Steve Cooper's given them something that they can latch onto. and that will be with them for the rest of their life. Right? So what he's done for the younger people who support Nottingham Forest can never be denied, I think. And that's really important for me.
Listen, I'll make it short and sweet. For what he did for the club, City and the fan base, it's been amazing. I'm lucky enough, sorry Des, to rub it in. I've met Steve Cooper twice. I remember I met Steve Cooper 4 weeks into, I think it was after I don't know what game it was. Don't know what the game was. And the first thing he said to me, "You right, Dore?" I was like, "Hey, what?" Right, and then shaked his hand, had a little conversation with him. I think Max was there as well. Max Hayes was there as well. And it was just a great chat. And again, that whole season, I will never forget. As a content creator, it was one of the best memories I ever had. And like before we went to Premiership, again, I met him again. Me and Ellie, we met him at the Forest Rec. Another amazing experience. A little chat with him, and again, he's made me as Forest fan and everyone else memories that will never go away. Like I said, apologize. I've had his brother Neil Cooper on his channel as well. Amazing dude. Well, yeah, for me, Steve, you've done as Forest fan. You gave me the best memories. You got our club into Premier League. He kept us up, and you can leave Forest with your head held high. Whatever club that you go to, you're all going to do fantastic for them. But like I said, for Steve Cooper, you've done. Thank you, Steve Cooper, for the best, the memories that you've gave to the club. So people in the chat as well, get the love hearts for Steve Cooper if you can. We've got to 1 hour and 7 minutes. Before we do go, we can't forget about we've got to talk about the manager we link with. We don't know, it could be him, we don't know, but it seems favourite. I'll make a quick statement with all the panel. It seems like it's going to be Nuno, the ex-Wolves and Tottenham Hotspur manager. In the chat, what do you think about him? Are you happy with him? Are you disappointed? Who else do you think we should get? Let me ask you, Des, it seems like we're getting Nuno. What's your opinion on it?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. I'm not. Steve Cooper's got this out. We're going to get a new manager. I'm not going to be particularly happy today, but we'll get behind him. We'll do what we have to do as fans. One thing we are good at initially is getting behind a new manager and supporting those. Obviously, through some of the fan groups in the ground, that really helps. But I just think, it's like anything, isn't it? Just sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. And this guy could come in and he could hit the ground running and he could change everything. And people like us four might look back and go, eat a bit of humble pie. But again, I can't look beyond the actual stuff on the pitch. And if your players aren't good enough, it doesn't matter who the manager is. If this guy can get a different tune out of them and get them attacking, that's going to be the thing, isn't it? It's somebody to get them attacking, because all we've had ran down our throat for 18 months through knobheads is low block, low block this, low block that. They don't even know what it means. They've just heard words. They've heard words and put them together. So at the end of the day, if he comes in and changes things, we'll all get behind him. We'll all support him. But at this moment in time, I don't think it matters. If it was Lopetegui they was talking about last week, we don't really know enough. We've not paid enough attention to him. It's like players, isn't it? We all get a little bit too giddy or write them off before they've even done something. Let's just let him come in, get behind him. If he does a good job, I can assure you, all those who was on Steve Cooper's case recently, if we've not won by the end of those 4 games, they'll be on his case as well.
Yeah.
Because it's quite possible that we don't win on Saturday. I hope we do, and then the next 3 games are particularly tough. And so it's quite possible we're 4 games in and people will already start asking questions, and if that's the case, then we'll look back at that point and see where we are. So I just think it's a case of getting behind him. It's not, at the end of the day, football's fickle. It's managers know what the job is, and they'll take each other's job and things like that, not through sort of stabbing them in the back because it's just available. So I think it's worth getting behind the new manager. But in all honesty, I look at what he did at Wolves and think that's good, that's positive, and then you see what he did for Spurs. So everyone's now saying he's an elite manager. Is he? Only time will tell on that one, but I just think it's easy to label people certain things, isn't it? I think all we've got to do is just go into it a little open-minded. I did with Steve Cooper. My opening comment when we did that show with Glenn was cautiously optimistic.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that show.
And it's been repeated lots of times. So I think, hopefully, hopefully this guy has got all the nous people think he has. Just because I'm disappointed in losing Steve Cooper, I'm not going to write this guy off because I want Forest to win every single game of football. And if this guy does that, then he'll be lauded like Brian Clough, never mind Steve Cooper. So hopefully he comes in, people get behind him, and we start winning football matches.
100%. Ellie, what do you think?
I think it's a bit of a sideways move. I feel like losing Cooper is a thing on its own, regardless of who the new manager is. Even if it's, bloody Pep Guardiola, I'm still thinking now's not the right time to change managers. But I disagree with Des and Dave in that I think there is potential in our players. I agree that we actually, player for player, have worse players than last season. We're missing players like Loddy, and God, we're missing a keeper, Les Turner and Odysseus. But I think there's not much that Cooper didn't get out of the players that I believe should have always been starting. I've already touched upon that. I think the problem was that there were changes that were made unnecessarily. Was that Cooper or was that the owner? We'll find out. I'm open-minded. It's hard right now because it does feel like grieving right now, and it's hard to be, looking forward. You just want to take a moment to just, wallow and then think forward. But he's, what he did at Wolves was fantastic. There's no denying that. But what my primary concern is that he's not a manager who I particularly believe will fall in love with a city. I think he's a type of manager who's on a journey in his career and is easily sold to a bigger club or, like moving to Spurs and things like that. I don't think he's a type of manager, and I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. I think he's a type of manager who sees us as a stepping stone or just better than what he had before, as opposed to I can get behind this club, I can be there for the fans like Cooper did. And I think that's something that I'm worried about in terms of how he can motivate players. If that is the case, I hope I'm wrong. But he did good at Wolves. Since then, struggled. Well, not completely struggled, but hopefully he can do what he wants to do, pick the players he wants to pick. And if we trust in him and let him do what he wants, we have a better chance. And I will get behind him all the way. But I just hope that I just want him to fall in love with Forest. So I want all the fans to be behind him, as much as it is bittersweet. Be behind him, sing for him, let him understand what it is to be a part of Nottingham Forest. And hopefully he will fall in love with us like we fell in love with Forest and like Cooper fell in love with Forest. And that for me is my biggest concern. But sideways move, decent manager, could go either way. Hopefully it goes the right way.
Let's say before, let me get last before Dave. Let's talk about what's your feelings, Dave, towards it.
Well, at the moment, I'm sort of a bit ambivalent, really, to be honest with you, Ben. But I will go to the game with an open mind, and let's just see where it takes us. All good things must come to an end. I wanted Peter, the Irish guy, to get the job so that as soon as he lost the match, I could obliterate him. You know what I mean?
Peter, where are you, Peter?
I think Peter, the Irish guy, should get the job. You know what I mean? I think I'm in awe of him. He's just so much more intelligent than I am. I would have loved him to have got the job. And then as soon as put Peter, the Irish guy, in charge, and then he loses to Bournemouth, then we can just slaughter him on here. So, yeah, bless him. He still hasn't had the guts to come on this show, has he?
Oh, no.
He has never had the guts.
He can't come on now. No,
come on, Peter, get on here. What are you frightened of, mate? So anyway, so the way I look at it is, if we get the Wolves Nuno, that'd be good. If we get the Tottenham Nuno, not so great. If we get, he's been in Saudi Arabia apparently. He won the league apparently out there, but I don't know how many people watch it in there. They're playing in front of crowds.
He fell out with
yeah, so he's been sacked. He's been sacked from there. The Wolves people I speak to are very positive, and what he did with Wolves, he brought them up. There were 2 7th places, and we get that. Great. None of us know for sure. We might be defeated against Bournemouth, defeated against Newcastle, defeated against United, and beaten by probably Blackpool in the cup, and everybody's like, this guy's got to go. Win those games, and hang on, actually, yeah, well, maybe it was the right decision to change Cooper to somebody else. Do you know what I mean? We just do not know. All I know is I go and I see Garibaldi red, and I want it to win every game. It's the institution. It's the club. It's that red shirt. How long is it? If it beats Bournemouth with awful football, but we beat Bournemouth 1-0. Say Bournemouth come dominate everything, play all that slick football that Ariola's known for, and we win 1-0. Great. That's fantastic. I just want my beloved Nottingham Forest to win every game. And so I'll go to this match. He comes out, he'll get my applause. Right, Nuno, shows what you've got, and on we go. And the thing is, I'll only ever worry about Nottingham Forest, right, when I think the next game might be the last one the club ever plays. I've thought this. People have been moaning and stuff. Not kind of thinking, all these people are moaning. What sanction are they going to employ? If Forest get relegated, what are they going to do? I'm not going again. I'm not buying a season ticket. Me, if we get relegated at the end of this season, and it's Plymouth away, say first game of next season, I'm going. So it don't change nothing. I've
not been Plymouth away as well. No, but I'm.
Or Ipswich or whatever. It doesn't get promoted. I'm just. A lot of people are saying Forest till I die. Let's see how much they mean it.
100%. It's been a great show, man. I've enjoyed it. Like I said, Steve Cooper's a legend, but we must move on. We must back whoever the manager is, and whoever we do appoint tomorrow, and we'll do a stream and talk about it. But like I said, people, it's been a fantastic stream, and there's 132 people on. Please do hit the like button, please. Hit the like button if you can, please. Before we do go, Des not been on for a while. If no one knows, Des, have a little chat about what you're doing before we do go.
You embarrass me now.
Why am I embarrassing you for? Stop, just get on with it.
Basically, next August, which I'm very reluctant because I'm considering football fixtures already, what I don't even know about.
Plymouth away, Ipswich away.
I'm going to run coast to coast in 7 days.
Can you talk
marathons in 7 days.
Can you tell Kate to put it? Kate, if you're watching, can you put the link in, please? Put it in the chat, please, if you can.
Put a link in, and if anybody can sponsor, get behind it, support. Anyone knows anybody who owns a business who'd like to support anything like that, anything that goes with these things. I'm raising money for Footprints, which is an amazing charity that work with children with learning disabilities and things like that, and myself and Kay went to see them, and they're absolutely incredible. We fell in love with the charity after about 4 seconds, just seeing the kids' faces in what they do, and it just we've not got kids, and we might have one day, and just seeing the work they do there is just an incredible sort of experience. So I always like a test. If you follow my social media, I'm running there and everywhere. I'm currently getting up at 5 a.m. every day to go and run 10K in the build up to Christmas.
Bloody hell.
So it's killing me. I'm knackered, but hopefully it's worth it and we can raise a good few quid. I've raised about £1,000 already, and
Well done. Well,
and kick on with that after Christmas. So if anybody can get behind that, Dore or Kay will post a link, and I'd really, really appreciate any support you can get. What I will say, some of the guys who I'm connected to through social media, a lot of the guys through DoreOnTour and who watch blogs and Twitter and things like that have supported already. So I'm really, really grateful to those who I don't even know. You know, I've never met in my life. So it just shows again the positive side of football and what you do here, Dore, and all those great things. So I'm eternally grateful for that as well.
I know. I think what can I say? I'm not saying this. Like Dave's been on some. I'm always a rival show because we support all the same club. So all them channels that Dave's been on, can you send me the money, please? Because I've had enough of Dave's face on all channels, please.
I've had enough of my face. I haven't seen myself.
All them Forest channels, please. Shout out to Guy Barney Red that Max Hayes has been on. He's a host now, so shout out to Max. But I say everyone, make sure everyone can subscribe to Max because everyone knows who Max is. He does a match named Max, but he's gone up in the ladder. He's the host now. So he's doing a fantastic job there, and Dave is like part of it now. So.
Well, sort of in the rotation. I've said to him, I don't want to be on every week. I
want the money. Dave, I want my money off Max. So Max, when I see you, you better hide from me. I want my money off you. Well, I'm playing. I'm playing, but yeah, like shout out to all the voice podcasters as well. Ellie, was you on the radio this morning?
Yeah, I was on BBC Newsbeat. They cut out me absolutely rinsing Marinakis, maybe for good reason. But yeah, that's my little 30 seconds of fame.
So if you've not seen it, Ellie was on the BBC talk about what happened today. But yeah, like I said, everyone's been busy. Like I said, Dave's on more on YouTube than I am. Des is running. Ellie's on radio. Everyone's busy.
And Ellie went to the Content Award because I saw her dancing.
Yeah, Ellie,
Football Heritage TV boy Sava and Bertie.
Shout out to Ellie and people in the chat. She won an award. Ellie, tell everyone. Tell everyone before we do go.
So I'm Nottingham Forest ambassador for her game too, and we actually won 2 awards. We won Best in Women's Football and Best in Equality, Diversity and Inclusion as an organisation.
I love
that. That's exciting. And other news, I've come with lots of news actually. I've been nominated for an award as Community Champion. It's the We See You Network. That's cool if you want to have a look at that. That's 3's thing. And then also, I can announce this now. I am starting a female Forest fan group. So if you'd like to be involved and want to, join or want to be involved in the process of starting it up, because it's a lot of work, please do message me. And the announcements will be coming soon for names for competitions. There's prizes. So yeah, lots to be excited about.
Make sure everyone go and follow everyone's socials. I know like Des does a lot of Twitter before and after the game. But like I said, Des is always on YouTube more than me. So like I said, I want my money. I want my money. I'd like to well done to Ellie for winning everything. So like well done to her game team as well. But it's been a great show. Like I said, it's a new era. Whoever the Forest new manager is, we're going to support him 110%. But like I said, people in the chat, thank you, Des, thank you, Dave, and thank you, Ellie, for coming on. Tomorrow I'll be doing a show. I might do a little video of my appreciation to Steve Cooper as well. But I'm definitely doing a video of if we do announce the new manager tomorrow. I will be doing it at 8 o'clock online. So watch out for that. Thank you, everyone. Before we do go, please do hit the like button. It's been a great show. We've got the main people here as well.
Can pick some cherries.
Yeah, you guys will pick some cherries.
At the weekend.
After this, Des will go for his little run. And as well, and yeah, Des, I'm about to throw in the bus back. You new haircut, man. But because I've seen you, Des. Des has been. When he says "ow, ow," I've seen him "ow, ow." And I saw a picture of you and David Johnson. What's this? What's this? Did you? Is he friends with you now?
Well, I can't divulge that information.
I've seen the picture, John. We're friends now. We're friends. We're friends now. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you everyone for taking part. Like I said, people, before I could go, please hit the like button, subscribe if you know. If you are rewatching this, anything that we discuss, put it in the comment section and I will get respond. Peace and love, people. I'd like to say one more thing. Thank you, Steve Cooper, for all the things you've done for our club. Peace and love, up the Forest.